Hello and welcome to another episode of City Skylines with Zara Peppers. Well, this is it, Flood City Mark II, a custom map that I have made, and I thought first of all I would go over a few things. First of all, the map layout is sort of vaguely inspired by the city of Winnipeg, and I figured for flood games there was no better city to imitate than Winnipeg, a city that lays right in the middle of a gigantic floodplain that used to be an ancient lake. Now, what I really wanted to do with this series was to sort of have seasonal flooding. I tried my best to do it automatically, somehow manage water and stuff so it would automatically raise and lower, but there's no way I could do it. So this is what I've come up with. Basically, we have the normal water flow going through this river, and then it goes down into a lake. Looks like we're getting flooding already. Interesting. But I can, with this water mod I've added, I can add water output right here, which will then feed into the river. And what I thought I would do is, if you look at this place water source, you can choose the amount of water capacity that it has, and I thought what I would do is for each flood, sort of flood season, I would randomly generate a number, and then whatever number it comes up with between 0 and 100 will be the water capacity that flood will be. So it'll be sort of random, and each flood will be different. So as for the different rivers we have the main river that will be flowing through the city. I guess we can call it let's call it the Rouge River. uh, Thumbs up to anybody who gets that. And we will call this one the Asinine River. I don't know. We will call this the Insane River, and we will call this, I don't know, Schitt's Creek or something. But now it's decision time. Where am I going to start this city? I think what I'm going to do is bring this highway down here, and then we'll start building in this area right here. So let's start with making let's just do the 3-lane highway coming down into this lower portion right here. Alright, so now we've got the highway coming down, and I think for the portion that will be in the city, I'm going to use these 3-lane one-ways. This one can go pretty much, we'll do it straight down this way for a ways, and on the other side, I don't want to do them right side by side because that usually makes really bad traffic situations, so we'll sort of make this one about a block away, and then we will connect like so. So there, these will be our first two main roads in the city, and I think I'll make the highway also come down and connect here. And we'll do that with the magic of editing. Okay, so now we've got the basics sorted out. We have a power station with some power lines going to all the critical areas, as well as I laid down some basic water. We have water intake and water outtake, and a little bit in here where I plan on building. So I guess that's where we're going to start, is building some residential areas. Now I got this mod where you can actually choose different street lights, so I think for this neighborhood we'll do some old street light lamps. And I'll use these smaller roads just for the beginning, since this is starting out as pretty much a small town. Now I want to straighten that out. We'll come up through here, maybe do it that far. That looks good. And we will start building our first residential area. I'm going to start out small. That should be good enough to start. Zone these areas in with some nice light residential. And then soon we'll hit play and see what happens. Now, another little thing, an idea that I had for this new series is, since I have this citizen tracker thing, I thought I would choose particular people who post comments, random people who post comments on these videos, and give them a citizen in the city, and then we can track them and see what happens to them and how they do. So if you comment on this video, you may very well be a citizen of Flood City Mark II. But as you can see, things are progressing nicely. We do have some commercial demand now, so I think that's what we'll do next. Maybe we'll do it on just on the opposite side of this one-way system. We'll use normal-sized roads. I think what we'll do is use modern street lamps, because it's not going to be a big commercial area. I think we'll just do 2 blocks for now, and yes, we do have water for those guys. So let's put that down, and now they'll have some shops to do all sorts of consumery things at. Now I've noticed that we already do have a little bit of flooding down here. I guess this is a particularly low area. Guess we'll see what happens with that later on. May need to build some dikes in here. So I suppose now it's time to give them some basic services. We'll do a nice little elementary school right here, a police department on the corner, and probably one of the most important, a fire department. And a clinic, of course. Otherwise we're going to have a repeat of that outbreak that we had in Mark 1. So now that those are down, we're just waiting for our citizens to come populate their houses. And I think we have some coming now. And it looks like we have some flooding already. This is a bit interesting. I guess we're going to have to do a little flood management already. Now this is probably just a brief sort of wave coming through. I'm sure it'll go away, but I should make something to protect this road anyways. You know, I'm actually recording this bit of narration in the future because when I was recording this, I forgot to turn the mic back on after doing my beauty shots. So, hello from the future. Now, back to past me. Alright, so I made a bit of a flood barrier, our first dike of the game, but seems to have just been a temporary surge in the water levels, and it's going down now, so basically everything I did was kind of pointless. But I'm sure this will come in handy in the future. As for our little town, it seems to be growing in quite nicely. We don't have much residential demand at the moment, but people are starting to move in. Hello, people. Hello. That's them talking back to me. And now I basically decided to demolish everything I just did and do this instead, because it makes a lot more sense and doesn't waste a whole bunch of space. So at this point you may be wondering, when's the first flood going to be? Well, I think for this first episode I'm just going to focus on building my little city, and you know, as you see, we are already having some flooding issues, so I'm sure that will provide us with a bit of drama. Seems to be fluctuating quite a bit. Now this river does drain all the way down here into a lake, which then sort of drains off the map. If water is low, a smaller amount drains, but as the water rises it sort of speeds up, but not enough to prevent flooding, just enough to keep things from going completely insane. However, I'm sure I could make things go completely insane still, but we'll get to that. Well, now that we have some industrial demand, I think it's time to start working on that. First of all, let's get some power going up there. I'll build it up around here, and also some water. I don't know why I said that like that, kind of weird, but okay. Then I'll do sort of my classic industrial area design where I do a one-way that sort of goes like this and then around in that manner, and then I fill in the areas that require filling in. I know gripping commentary, isn't it? Didn't mean to do that. That's what I wanted to do. So I thought I would start off with just a simple old sort of manufacturing industrial area. That way we can get goods into the city for commercial purposes and whatnot. Make sure all these guys have water. Yeah, I'm not exactly, very picky about laying my sewage lines. I'm sure there are people out there who are saying, what a fucking mess. That's just a complete mess, a disaster of disastrous proportions. But, you know what? That's just how I roll. Put that there. And there, we have our nice new industrial area. Except I didn't really want to do old-fashioned streetlights like that. I should have done the other kind, but oh well. Now, if you have yet to notice, you'll see that we are doing a European theme for this map, so something a little bit different from the last one. Put in some more residential area because we have quite a bit of demand. Our industrial area is growing in quite nicely. As far as any kind of flooding situations, well, we've got a little bit up here, but it's not too bad. But of course, it'll get a lot more interesting when the seasonal flooding comes into play. Well, we have another beautiful sunrise over our new town. Things are going well. I've had some more residential. We got some higher density up along here. We got a nice hospital with a nice little park for patients to go stroll and fall over and get cut on the gravel pathway and then go back to the hospital to get their infections treated. Now I think it's time to do a little thinking ahead to see where there might be problem areas during flooding. This area is pretty low. Water will most likely, this is probably going to be a problem area when flooding starts. This too, already kind of flooded out right now. A low patch in this area, and down here we have a significant dip. And it does, the terrain rises around here. Actually, I think I can bring up a terrain thing. There is a rise here that'll keep the water out, but if it does get over this area will probably flood out. We do have some lower patches coming in here. Over here we have a lower patch along the Asinine River, and it also looks like, well, it's pretty high up here. And this area could also be problematic. As for the area we're building in right now, this along the coast is kind of low, but I think it's relatively protected from low increases in water level. But this isn't going to be the only places we're building. Obviously, we're going to have building over here, and naturally it seems we want to start building across the river in this area. But I'm getting ahead of myself at the moment. Well, now that we've got a nice little town started, our nice little European town started, I think that's where I'll end it for this episode. Next episode, the real fun begins, where we will have our first flood season. Yeah, that was kind of an awkwardly executed sentence, but yeah, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be some flooding. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be more growth. It looks like we have some residential demand that we're going to have to deal with. And I'm sure more industrial demand will come our way. So, until next time, have a good one.